Hello everybody. Hey, it's Ken Faulkner. Gonna do a knife video tonight. It's Wednesday night, so I'm kind of beat. Haven't come off of work. So maybe this one won't be so long. But it's not one of my little short ones because I got a new knife. It's a KB, or is it Kubi? I think it's just Kubi, but it seems like they may be coming out with a different level of quality and different with a KB for like the nicer ones maybe. Don't really know. I mean, I heard little bits about it, but I really don't know for sure. Don't like to talk about things like I know it if I don't. Most of the time I don't. But anyway, I got this KB knife, and yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and open it up for you. See what this box looks like. Of course, I have already opened it as usual. But this one says the model is a KB400B, color dark, CPM 20 CV, and titanium. So not your normal Kubi knife. I mean, they do have some nicer ones with titanium. I don't know that I have any Kubis with 20 CV though. And there you go. It's like a different kind of box than I've ever seen. A little more decoration to it. Made in China. Want to make sure you know that. We got a notice here. Keep the knife away from children. Yeah, I don't. All my kids are grown, so that's not really a problem over here. A little about us stuff. So that's the box. It's pretty cool. I don't want to take too much time because it's Wednesday and I'm tired. Ready to pour myself a glass, relax, watch some YouTube. Obviously, been opened, and here it is. I saw this. I can't remember who it was. Maybe it was Lefty, one of the bigger channels. They showed this knife, and I think it was Lefty. And then I think it would just come out, and you could have bought it on the Kubi website. I'm a little bit. I got a nice little cloth, a nice KB on the Kubi cloth, so I'll put it on there. Give you some good contrast rather than that wood that you're used to seeing on my table here. Anyway, so the story, there's a story behind it, which, I love stories. I love a knife that has some memories that go with it. Is that this is called the Sumo. And I was always familiar with a knife called a Sumo from earlier days of collecting. And it's not exactly my usual size, but really I do like it. We'll talk about that in a bit. There's the full knife right there. And the Sumo is if you can see it, if it doesn't, I'll just have to tell you, Hoback. It's a Hoback design. So what happened, I guess, in this case, in my understanding of the original Hoback, was it was where things hit the fan for Hoback knives, and people were finding out that they didn't have all USA made parts, and some of their stuff was being made over in China. Don't know all the details. I'm sure there's a lot of other things. You can do research on it. Don't really worry about it so much as the fact that there was a cover-up involved, and that's the bad thing about it. But now this is not being sold by Hoback, and the price does make it clear that it's not coming from him, because most of his stuff is up in the $400 range from what I've seen. More of a custom-ish sort of thing, or small runs or whatever. I don't have any Hoback knives, and it's probably partially because of all the drama that was created over it. I just try to avoid the drama. But the Sumo I always thought was cool. I always liked the knife, and had a nice look to it. Whoever was showing, I think it was Lefty, he had the original one when it came out. So he was kind of familiar with it, and he said it was very similar. I guess it's kind of hard to remember. It's been a few years. but very similar action, and it is very good action. It is a button lock. Definitely got a kind of a cool sound to it for those that like that. And I can do that thing that I'm not as good as Bees is, swing it back and forth. Not much of a lock opening type person where you do that with the lock and swing it around. But yeah, this one has great action. It is smaller, barely fits in my hand. You can see my pinky's just trying to fall off, but then it just hangs in there. And just the shape of this is very, very ergonomic for me. It just, because I've been carrying it the last couple of days, and I just been kind of marveling at the fact that it just feels so good in my hand. It just, like it was made, like it was custom fit for my hand. It's just, and the thumb right here really feels, so obviously everybody's hand's a little different. So, it may be different for you. But yeah, and then the action on it and everything like that is just super nice. A little harder under the camera, but believe me, as I'm carrying it around and fidgeting with it and things like that, cutting with it, it just feels good, really good in my hand. Button seems to work well. I was doing the old whack thing and haven't been able to make it fail. I don't really go for that in a big way, where I'm really slamming it, but haven't seen any problem with it. It doesn't seem to really have tons of lockup in there, but it does seem to work. So whatever, that's what's important to me. And then it doesn't have real detent, but well, wait a minute, that's the first time that's happened. Yeah, I haven't been able to swing it. And maybe it just wasn't quite closed. Oh, there's one. So if you swing it hard enough, you can get it to come out. But, it doesn't really have a detent ball because of the button lock thing. So it doesn't come open in my pocket or anything crazy like that. So I have no complaints about it. I love this fuller. It works really well for the reverse flick when you're not under the camera. And you just have to take my word for it because, yeah, it works really well. And then just today I was noticing, because I'm not much of a thumb opener, but it does have these kind of triangular thumb studs on both sides. But really my middle finger is going right to that fuller, so I don't really get up that high. If I want to do it with the index finger, though, I can do it with the stud. And the thumb works really well with the stud. Those triangular studs really give you a nice flat surface, so you're not slipping off. It does work well, but I have to think about it. I have to say, okay, specifically I'm going to try it with the thumb, because this is the way I'm going to open a knife almost every time whenever it's an option. I like this stone wash on here. It looks really, really nice. And it kind of makes the whole blade, it's got a slight different, color, but it kind of has two tones, but it goes together really well. I was wondering about this pocket clip. It's way up high, kind of unusual, but it actually works pretty well as it's going into the pocket. It just slides in there, no problem, holds it in. This is way thin material, so it's not really even clipping onto that. But for my jeans, works really well. And I was surprised that it wasn't odd being so far off center on the knife, but it worked really well. I like the milling on this. I like the thickness on it. This back spacer that goes almost the whole length almost has this feel of an integral. Don't believe it's an integral. Well, it's got a screw, goes all the way through from here to here. So yeah, it's not an integral, but it does have that kind of feel because it's almost a full length. And then when you close it, it has this little tab here, so it kind of fills up the rest of that gap. It's got great action. Bearings just don't hold anything back because it just drops right down. Yeah, decent weight to it. Let's get some specs. I'm not really going to break out the calipers. but you'll get a basic idea. I mean, I'm not super worried about exact things. So it's about a 1/2 inch thick on the handle. It seems more thick just because it's a smaller knife. I was thinking that this one is a lot like another Kubi that I own, which is the KU122, and very much similar action and ergonomics in my hand. It just feels really good. This one I definitely feel the pocket clip more because it's got that bent type one. But the pocket clip here, maybe partially because it's up high, it just kind of goes into a good spot in my hand. So that might be part of the reason for having it up high, but I don't feel the pocket clip on this one. But anyway, yeah, I really like this one. They're both smaller knives. We're talking about a little over 3 inch on the blade and about a little over 7 inches on the overall. So very similar size. So I've always liked this one, but this one I think it's got to be a little thinner. Yeah, it's not quite 1/2 inch. It doesn't feel super thin, but it definitely, this one feels a little bit more thick in the handle. Another knife I got that is similar size and has that kind of same ergonomic feel for a small knife is the Baby Machine from Riyadh. And it's kind of similar blade shape. This has got kind of that reverse tanto, if you want to call it that. I think that's what I'm calling it. I mean, it's kind of like a clip point, but it's not. It doesn't have a round clip to it. It's just a straight cut on the end. So it really kind of, for me, reverse tanto is a little bit more descriptive. But yeah, this one also feels very good in my hand. You know, it just barely fits in there, just long enough to have it room. This one does have the choil. I think the KU. Yeah, no, this one doesn't have a choil. So this is the same kind of thing. And it has that same little area back here. But that seems to be kind of nice when you got that front finger groove here and this on the back, kind of makes it lock in front and back. It won't move around. Anyhow, so yeah, I really do like this knife. I'm going to go ahead and get a weight on this thing. I don't do too much on the weights, but I figure it feels kind of chunky. Come on now. Oh, there you go. Just as I gave up on it, it started working. All right, here we go. So it's a 3 inch blade, and you got about 4.5 inch or ounces, 4.5 ounces. So a little bit more than the inch per ounce thing, but I like it. I like the feel of it. It's certainly not super heavy. 4.4, that's not bad at all. But for a smaller knife, you know, it might be a little bit heavier than some people would like. It's definitely not a bug out. Super solid, nice milling. I like the design. There's no real. You got the hoe back there, very subtle, and you got the KB on the pivot, but otherwise there's no billboarding on here. So really cool. I love that blade shape. It's you know, very similar to a drop point in my mind. You know, I really like a drop point. It's got that swedge on the top, making that tip have some reinforcement, but also makes it a good piercing tip. It's not a full flat, so, and it's kind of thick up here. I think we're looking at maybe 1/8 of an inch. Yeah, about 1/8 of an inch, which is fairly normal, but again, it's like a smaller knife, so it could have been thinner. I mean, a lot of knives this size are thinner. It feels super solid, guys. Anyway, yeah, I always was looking at the Sumo back when, you know, before it came out in this version, and always thought maybe someday I'll be able to get that. And when I saw the Kubi one and I heard decent review, I thought, man, I'm going to jump on that. But I didn't want to buy it from Kubi because some of these ones from the Chinese companies seem to take a long time. I don't know. Kubi may be quicker, but what I did is I saw White Mountain Knives had it, but it wasn't available yet. So kind of put it on the list. And I've been saying I'm not going to buy so many knives. I know, honestly, I will buy some more knives before Christmas, but I'm really trying to slow down. But when I saw the notification, I think it was the email or something, that it was available, I had to pick it up. $216. So it's about half price, I think, from the original. I was looking at some that were on sale on some sites. I don't know if they're used or what, but I think they're up in the $400 range. But yeah, I think it's a good knife. I mean, now there's no doubt that it's all made in China, so we know that because it's Kubi, and Kubi makes good stuff, and they've been making some good premium stuff lately. So we'll see where this this KB branding goes. I hear that they have like a more premium version of this, and maybe under a different name. I know that there's a different name for this, but I can't remember. It's some kind of Greek god thing, more of an unusual, not as common of a name. Anyhow, so yeah, I'm super happy with this small knife that I really like, which isn't happening all the time, and yeah, I'm really glad to actually get a hold of this thing in my collection. I don't know if I'll ever get an actual holdback knife. Maybe I will. I've always kind of had it in the back of my mind to do it, but just never has happened. So in the package with the knife, you get this card, basic detail stuff, and you get a couple extra. I think there's 2 of them. Yeah, 2 separate springs, and they're 2 different colors, and they look like they may be 2 different thicknesses. I don't know if you can tell, but they're definitely different colors, so maybe they're different strengths. I don't know. This feels good. I'm not unhappy with it, but it's nice that if the spring goes bad or breaks or whatever, or I lose it when I'm taking it apart or whatnot, I got a couple extra springs, so that's kind of nice of them. Okay, guys, so that's it. Kubi, yeah, decent length video. I always get a little pepped up after I start talking about knives with you guys. Appreciate you all watching. And I will see you on the next one.